I got the full droid color Talzin needs. Guess it's going to Cassian. Can I go dark side yet? Dark side territory battles are coming, and it's nice to be prepared when we know that something is coming into the game. And I think a lot of people, myself included, are a little bit sick of working on rebels. I'm kind of tired of giving my hard-earned gear to Chase. But I know my guild is shooting for 41 stars this territory battle. We will hit it, and I will have a little party all by myself in celebration. But once we hit that 41 star mark, we are going to start switching focus to dark side territory battles. And now we don't have any information on it yet. We don't even have a date of when it's coming. We don't know if it will also be on Hoth. So this is entirely speculation. So I think the right way to use this video and to use speculation is to farm these tunes, farm these squads, and farm the gear, have it ready, but don't equip it. Especially with episode 8 coming out, everyone should be kind of hoarding gear, hoarding resources, but not actually equipping it until you know for sure. So don't panic farm these. If anything, this should help prevent panic farming. When thinking about how to prepare for dark side TB, I thought a lot about what has worked for light side TB, and the big thing that stuck out to me was survivability. So when thinking of the teams and the tunes that would work really well, that's exactly what I looked for, is survivability. That's a different aspect than something you look for in, say, Arena. Now, Rebels have been the focus for light side TB, mostly because they're the largest faction, and Jedi just needed way too much work, I think, to make it a Jedi TB. So looking on the dark side, the faction that makes the most sense is going to be Empire. They are the largest dark side faction, and they kind of go hand in hand with Rebels. So if it is also on Hoth, then I think the equivalent for the Hoth brothers on the light side TB would be probably Veers and Snowtrooper. So those are good to be kind of farming on the side right now, just getting their shards ready. For TB, we've seen you only need around 4 to 5 good teams. You have Phoenix, Rogue One, Luke teams, Resistance, and then maybe some other team that you have like clones with Ayla or something like that, whatever kind of you have left over. So for dark side, I think the 4 to 5 teams that you want to look for are 1 to 2 Empire teams, a Nightsister team, First Order, and Sith. So starting with the Empire. There's a lot of leads to choose from, but going off of that survivability idea, there were 2 that really caught my eye. The first is the Zeta on Thrawn's leadership, and there's unfortunately going to be a lot of Zetas floating around here, but that's just kind of the way the game is. Now the Zeta on Thrawn's lead will give protection recovery. Same with the Zeta on Krennic's lead. Will also give protection recovery. So those are the 2 leaderships that really stuck out to me. The nice thing if you're using a Krennic lead is you can throw Death Trooper in there. They have a great synergy. Death Trooper is a very powerful attacker, very annoying to fight, great for his AoE dispel. He's a very good tune to have in there. He's one of the better Empire tunes. The other cool tool in Empire is General Veers. The Zeta on his unique gives protection recovery to all Imperial troopers. And since it's on his unique, he doesn't need to be the leader. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility. If you don't have a Zeta Thrawn or Zeta Krennic's lead, or you want to kind of double up on the protection regeneration, you have that as an option. So I'm kind of seeing an Imperial trooper type squad, and then maybe another squad, like a Thrawn squad or maybe a Vader squad, something like that. So thinking about the other leads and why I didn't really pick them, Tarkin's is mostly based on speed and offense. It doesn't really have survivability built into it, so I feel like that's a little better for maybe something like Arena. Vader, I'm very unsure about. When you Zeta Vader's lead, it gives a lot of turn meter reduction and it builds up damage over times. This potentially could work. I think in order to get the survivability out of it, you would have to pair him kind of like what we did for early Rancor solos when we used Zeta. We had to pair him with Shore Trooper to kind of help keep everyone alive, used him with Tarkin, maybe Darth Sidious, just get lots of damage over times and eat away at them. I'm still not totally sold on that. We'll have to see. Palpatine also has a leadership, but it is only giving turn meter to Empire allies. It's not giving health to Empire allies. It's giving health to Sith allies, and I'll talk about why I don't think he'll be a good Sith leader either if you have Nihilus. Gar Saxon does have a regenerative lead, but it's a health regen lead, and I think protection regen will be better than health regen, because once you're regenerating health, that means your protection is gone. The other troopers that I put in here, there's Stormtrooper and Shore Trooper, because both of them are very good for survivability. They're great on defense. Also, Royal Guard goes into this of being very good at fighting environment or AI, because AI isn't as good as getting rid of your taunts. And then the last thing with Empire is I didn't include TIE Fighter Pilot in this for a couple of reasons. One is he's kind of a given anyway because he's a pilot and his ship is good. You have to have dark side ships anyway, so you'll have TIE Fighter Pilot anyway. That's kind of a given. But I hesitate to actually put him in these squads because he's so squishy. I have some concerns about him dying. We'll have to see. And I actually have the same concerns about Palpatine. He's so squishy. I almost didn't want to put him on here. But I think that Darkside TV will be the thing that triggers a long overdue rework for Emperor Palpatine. We'll have to see. Moving on to Nightsisters, my newest favorite faction. They're a lot of fun to use, and I'm saving a Zeta for episode 8, but my next Zeta, I think I just got it today. I might throw on her just because it's really fun and it's kind of refreshing after you get used to using the other teams. It's very different. So the Zeta on Talzin's lead gives a lot of revival, so you are extremely survivable with this team. Just when you think it's about to be completely over, everyone's dead, they come back at full force. So I think the Nightsisters will almost be the resistance of Darkside TB. That will be where they really shine. It'll be really hard to lose with them with all of this revival going on. The especially powerful duo here is Acolyte and Zombie, because Acolyte will be stealthed a lot of the times, and as long as Acolyte is alive, or as long as any Nightsister is alive, Zombie will just keep coming back and back and back. And with the Zeta on Talzin's leadership, every time they use a basic, if they kill someone, then there's revivals. The other nice thing about this team is Ventress has some stacking stats, so the longer the battle goes, she will get a lot stronger. If you throw a Zeta on Daka, you can get a similar thing, but we already have a lot of Zetas floating around here. The next faction to consider is First Order, and this one, I didn't make a full team out of it because I think with episode 8, we will be getting more new tunes. We might be getting, say, a Hux or a Snoke, or maybe even more new First Order tunes, so it's hard to know exactly what the best team will be. First Order TIE Pilot is probably in there for sure because his ship is really good and he does huge damage. First Order Stormtrooper is also an excellent tank, so he's probably a given in this team. But the reason that First Order makes this list is because of the new Kylo Ren that we got and the Zeta on his leadership. So it gives health and protection regeneration. So that's giving a good amount of survivability to the team. On top of that, Kylo Ren Unmasked himself is very survivable. There's lots of different parts of his kit that give him health regeneration. The last faction is Sith, and there's multiple Sith leads, but I think the one that will shine for territory battles is a Nihilus lead because you're getting so much health back. And it's not just health back. With a Nihilus lead, your health includes your protection, so you can get everything back to 100%. I used this lead a lot in Galactic War before I Zeta'd Finn, and it has excellent survivability. Palpatine's lead also gives some health regen to Sith, but they have to be inflicting debuffs during their turn. So when I've tried to use that with Nihilus is an excellent Sith, so you want to be using Nihilus. When you try and use that with Nihilus can't keep himself healthy and he'll die very, very easily. So of all the Sith leads, I think Nihilus is by far the best because it gives that great survivability. And the nice thing about this lead is you don't need to Zeta it. As you can see, the Zeta only gives 50% additional health steal, so without the Zeta, they have 100% health steal, which is still pretty good. In terms of finishing the team, I think all of the Sith do well. It will probably depend on what you have and what we see. If we're seeing a lot of Jedi, there's certain Sith that do a lot better versus Jedi. Something to consider is Zeta Savage is known for being extremely survivable, but he does get hindered quite a bit under a Nihilus lead because you can see Sith allies are immune to healing effects, so the heal over times that Savage is getting when you Zeta him won't heal him. He'll still get the turn meters, and when he's getting the turn meter, he'll go again, and when he's going, he's getting that health steal. So he's still okay, but that insane amount of healing, the healing over times that he usually gets, won't work out that well under a Nihilus lead. So that's just something to keep in mind. One of the probably go-to tunes for the Sith team will be Sethe Tripper, because he's very tanky and he has that countering, and as he's countering, he's getting health steal, so he'll heal himself right back up. And he can protect your other Sith allies, so maybe you could use a squishier Sith like Dooku, who can heal himself up with all of his countering, but is inherently a little bit squishy. Looking into the other factions, there's a few solo tunes that I think will still do well in territory battles, kind of filling in holes in your other teams just because they're so useful. One of them is Boba Fett. He's a great character. He can do a lot of damage. He gives you a lot of ability to manage the battles with his debuffs and his dispel. The other thing that's nice about him is he has a good chunk of survivability built into him because every time he kills an enemy, he gets that revival buff back on him. And in territory battles, from what we've seen, you're fighting a lot of enemies. It's pretty easy to kill someone to get that buff back on yourself. I think Sunfac is going to be a good tune. He's a very good tune for fighting environment. He's not that great for arena because people are very good at dispelling taunts, but the AI is not. And he is a very good tank because he's very tanky and he counters and he dispels on his counter. The last tune that I think will be useful as a kind of a miscellaneous piece is B2. And this is because whenever someone else gets attacked, and there's a lot of people on this list that can taunt, so every time someone else is attacked, he'll get turn meter and do a mass dispel, which is very useful and kind of rare in this game. As far as the other factions go, bounty hunters have the potential to do a lot of damage, but they lack the survivability that I think is needed. Geonosians, Separatists, Tuskens are not really fully fleshed out factions yet in the game. And then droids are just way, way too squishy, especially because in Darkside you can't use Jawas because Jawas are light side, and you kind of need Nebbit and Jawa Engineer to keep them alive. And that's what I'm thinking for Darkside. I really want to hear what you all think about these tunes and these teams. Are you going to start farming them? How are you preparing for Darkside TB? Are you even thinking about it? Are you excited about it? Let me know. I'll see you guys on the next video.